Welcome, Fakahatchee, to the Fakahatchee Mayor's Day Parade. It's beautiful. The sun is shining. The parade route is flooded with 3 feet of water, and I'm sitting right here next to Fakahatchee's own business magnate, the man, the legend, Duck Winters. How are you, Duck?
Oh, Horace, I am doing just great. I got to tell you, this is one of my favorite days of the year. You know, I am just so excited to have the crowds here. I mean, you know, sun's out, gator guns out.
We're situated right here along the parade route, right on Main Street, between the I Sense things and that moist feeling. And I think a lot of the parade goers are feeling pretty moist themselves with Mayor Mikey DuSoleil's decree to make it a boat parade this year and put 3 feet of water along the route.
Yeah, I mean, it is hot out today as well. I mean, and there is just... there's a lot of moisture, you know, and I mean, it's Florida, so, you know, you're going to have some moisture, but today we even got extra.
Yeah, it's not just sweat. Like, a lot of it is sweat, but, you know, I'd say maybe 50-50.
Yeah, I feel I'm sitting in 3 feet of water right now, to be honest, Horace.
Of course we're not. We're way up here up top where it's perfectly dry, thank goodness. But we do have Tiffany Bunzel along the parade route, who will be checking in with us as time goes by. I think it's... important on days like these, Duck, to check in and what are some of your favorite parade themes from maybe the past 10 years?
Oh, well, I mean, I was always a big fan of that one where we put all tomatoes out. We did the tomato parade.
Right.
You know, and then the floats went over the tomatoes, and then it was take your own sauce home. Mm-hmm. So everybody brought jars, and because things crushed it, and then they took their own sauce, and the kids, we gave them all garlic bulbs, and they would throw them so the sauce would have that garlic flavor to it. I thought that was one of the best parades I've ever been to because it just gave us something to take home with us to consume. And to remember.
I think that was, when was that? I think that was right after the Sopranos ended, if I'm not mistaken.
That was the big celebration of the Sopranos ending. And they were like, you know what we should do? Throw a bunch of tomatoes on the ground, have children throw raw garlic, and have the floats crush them.
Oh, my gosh. It must have been a month before the smell went away.
Yeah, I mean, it smelled like a Italian dumpster for like a year.
Well, I'm told by my producer that Mayor Mikey DuSoleil is going to have some words to kick us off. And before that, Sheriff Bud Nichols is going to do a little PSA, and I'm getting a signal that is happening now.
From myself and all of our deputies, I'd like to wish everyone in Fakahatchee a very happy Mayor's Day. I encourage everyone out there to be safe while enjoying the parade. That water can be surprisingly deep in some places, and we don't want anyone losing a loved one out there on the parade route.
Oh boy, that'd be terrible.
Also, we know there have been a number of threats against and about the parade, so I encourage all the parade goers to look out for one another. And remember to tell suspicious folks to move on and leave the parade alone. Remember, if you view something, shoo something has replaced our did you spot it, hope you shot it stance on public safety. Otherwise, happy Mayor's Day, folks, and enjoy the festivities.
Well, there we go, Duck. I'm so excited.
Hey there, folks. This is your
this must be Mayor Mikey DuSoleil right now.
All right. Well, this is my first Mayor's Day here in Fakahatchee, so I encourage all of you out there to help me make it the best Mayor's Day until next year, when that one becomes the best Mayor's Day, and then maybe the one after that. Hey, who knows? I'm just getting started here at being a mayor. Otherwise, by the power vested in me by leaving my hand on the desk the longest, I declare this Fakahatchee Mayor's Day officially kicked off. Fire off the parade, y'all.
Bold choice by the mayor to do daylight fireworks.
Yeah, it is a little. You can't really see them that well.
They make a great noise, though.
Yeah, you could hear them. It is loud right now.
Yeah,
It is honestly. There are cats and dogs who are terrified.
Well, we are piping in some of the noise from the crowd over that, and oh look, here come the flags to start the parade right now, carried by the Bear Scouts of America, walking down or as best they can down Main Street through 3 feet of water, carrying the flags.
Yeah, they look like they're having a bit of trouble right now. And I don't understand why we just don't do a Gator Scout chapter. I feel like gators are more situated for the water.
Right.
You know, much more than bears. I mean, bears, yeah, they're standing in it if there's salmon, but if there's no salmon, they don't go into the water. You know, it's like, I don't know.
Right.
You want to stand in water if there's no salmon there?
Are you gonna get a Gator Scout chapter going?
Yeah, I've been thinking about getting a Gator Scout chapter because, I mean, what animal is better to be around children than gators?
I don't know.
Real educational.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, listen, they'll teach you a lesson and you might lose a finger, but that's a lesson you're never going to remember not learning.
Right. Well, look over there. It's the Fakahatchee Singing Lobstermen. Doing a little a cappella. Their costumes, of course, a tribute to the half-human, half-lobster hybrid who's alleged to live out in the swamps.
No alleged. He lives there.
Oh, so you've seen it.
I've seen it. I've smelt it. It's there.
Well, I've heard he's got a lobster head and human hands, which it sounds to me ridiculous.
Well, it sounds to me ridiculous as well. That doesn't mean it ain't true. I mean, I think all-you-can-eat buffets are ridiculous. I mean, just the concept of that alone is crazy. How does anybody make any money if it's all you can eat? But they're all over the place.
Well, where did you see the Fakahatchee lobstermen at, Doc?
Well, I didn't see him at an all-you-can-eat buffet, okay? Because, he can't go to a seafood buffet. He wouldn't last long.
No,
okay?
that would be extra horrible. All right, and here comes our first float making its way down Main Street. This float is called Underneath. It's by Hank's Old Arby's. It's not legally an Arby's.
But it's kind of an Arby's.
I mean, it's not technically an Arby's.
It's giving off Arby's vibes.
Yeah, putting the Arby's vibes out there. And of course, there's a giant burger patty here with pickles dancing underneath. Super charming, and I'm told those dancing pickles are made up of the Fakahatchee Dusty Hearts Club. Doing the dances they did in their youth.
I mean, they're doing dances that are an approximation of the dances they did in their youth.
Well,
I don't know if that's actually the Charleston.
They don't move like they used to. I will say that. If you're throwing a little shade on their moves there, Duck.
I'm like a big old oak tree, just throwing shade over here. I'm sorry. They're doing the best thing they can, and I God bless them doing the Charleston and whatever the heck that one is with the crab. Is that a crab walk?
I think so. I can't imagine that was.
I don't even remember that being an actual dance.
No.
When he's crabbing it up, right?
Yeah,
That one might be having a heart attack.
Wow. Do you recognize any of those other fancy moves going on out there, Duck?
Oh yeah, that's one of them's called the Winklewoo.
Mm-hmm.
Then that one's called the Winklevoss twins.
Right.
You know those two guys who wanted to invent Facebook.
Yes.
That's the one where you mimic the other person doing the thing.
Right. My understanding was their great grandmother invented that dance.
Yeah. Yep, that's right. She was also a twin.
Mm-hmm.
The whole family, I don't know if you know this, whole family's made up of twins.
Twins
Yep,
all the way down.
All the way down and all the way up, front to back, all twins.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Must make for a confusing Christmas.
I don't know. Maybe name tags.
Yeah, well, yeah, you'd have to.
Well, here we I didn't mean to cut you off there, Duck, but here we've got the Mini Pony Association of America.
This is one of my favorites. I love these guys.
Everyone loves the Min Pones. And these mini ponies just barely have their heads over the water out there. I wouldn't be shocked if they make it back to the corral and they're missing a couple.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy. Hey, horse, you know what they call a horse underwater?
What is that?
Dead.
Oh. Dark.
Listen, some of these horses, this is the beginning of the parade, and they already look like they're having trouble hanging on. So I hope we get some of them out of there soon, because if not, though, drop them off at the Gator Farm. I'll clean them up, because we are an environmentally friendly small business.
Right, put it back into the cycle, the big cycle of life.
Recycling.
Well, Duck, here's a float that I know you're absolutely going to love. Not really a float, but it would have been where the Duckwooders Gata-Ganza would have had their float if you were participating in the parade and not broadcasting from the sidelines this year.
This is just a gorgeous float. Just a gorgeous float.
And why don't you tell us a little bit about this float, Doc?
Oh, yeah, you know what? Okay, well, first of all, Gator's named after my favorite swimmer, Greg Louganis.
Uh-huh.
So I call it Gator Greg Louganis.
Right.
That's why it's got some stitches on the back of the head from when it, hit the old diving board. I figured Gator Greg Louganis has a little stitch there, so that's my little, a tribute to a true Olympian.
This is a big gator.
Big gator, yeah.
Is this your biggest gator down at the farm?
Oh, yeah. It's a real big gator. When I first got it, I thought it was 2 gators.
Oh.
Yeah, but then I was like, oh, no, that's just 1 gator.
Wow.
And I was like, okay.
And how old is Gator Greg Louganis?
Honestly, I don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really good with numbers. If I want to know how old a tree is, I have to cut it down, count the rings, and you can't do that with a gator because then it's dead.
Right. Tell us a little bit about who's riding Gator Greg Louganis out there today.
Oh, that's one of my employees.
What?
Yeah, that's Karen.
Karen
riding Greg.
Now, how did you choose Karen to ride that gator?
Well, Karen rides a lot of things, okay?
Oh.
So, the lawnmower where she takes care of our lawn landscaping. And
Karen's in maintenance.
Yeah, she also rides in cars and a little golf cart we have on the gator property. And she's just good at what she does. So I was listening to her. I was like, I think she can probably handle Gator Greg Louganis. Mm-hmm. And I asked her, I was like, Karen, what you think? You think you could handle? And she didn't even let me finish. She's like, I have been waiting this whole time for you to ask me that question. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it was like kind of a tear came to my eye because I was originally going to do it because you know me. But sometimes, it's like that great CEO, the guy who started Starbucks, Howard Schultz. He said, he's like, you got to give people their own agency.
Well, she's taking full advantage of that agency out there. She's really got Gator Greg Louganis moving through the water.
Yeah, well, I read that in a book from the library. I took the book off the shelf, opened it up, read that line, closed it, was like, I'm done. Okay, I just got all the information I need from this autobiography. Okay, it said, give your employees agency. Okay,
right.
And so right now she is just chock full of agency.
Yeah, and she is owning every minute of
agency. And this crowd is loving it. I mean, they're scared too, but who wouldn't be?
You love to see a dream come true, and it sounds like Karen was just waiting for this.
It is a monstrosity and a sin against God. That thing is so big.
Well, our next float is making its way down here, and this is an entry from winemaker Puce Higgins of Puce Higgins Crystal Key West Chardonnay called Under the Chandelier. Lots and lots of glass here, Duck. Beautiful chandelier, but a ton of glass.
The refraction is just blinding. I mean, there's rainbows everywhere.
Yeah, I'm both nervous and, very excited about it.
I feel like I'm in a disco.
And on that float, of course, is Puce Higgins himself playing a clear piano. You ever seen a clear piano, Duck?
No, because it's see-through.
Right.
I mean, they're pretty much invisible.
Yeah.
I mean, I see him doing something right now, but I barely see a piano.
Yeah, you just kind of hear the notes.
Yeah, it sounds gorgeous.
But standing on that, I assume he's standing, I can barely see the piano, is our rock and roll weatherman, Dakota Pittsburgh, doing the moves.
Ooh, and Dakota, look at him. He is just dressed to the nines and the tens. It's a shame that, they spend so much money on that clear piano and we can't even see it. You know? Like if I had a piano, I'd make sure it was like tie-dye or plaid. That way people could see it and be like, oh man, look at the whole, Duck Winter's got a piano. But this guy, I'm like, I guess he's got a piano. I hear one, but I don't really see one.
Maybe that's like the next level of wealth is to have a piano that like you don't even want anyone to see.
Oh, like people who live in glass houses?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably the richest people around.
Yeah.
Because you can't even really see the house.
Mm-hmm.
Must be hard to put your things away.
You just assume that they're homeless sometimes.
Yeah, or just levitating if they're on the second floor, which I'm guessing they have if they're rich.
Of course.
They probably have a second floor.
Maybe a sub-level.
Yeah, or like an extra basement. Like a second floor basement. Oh man, I could just dream. I love a second floor basement.
Next up, we have the...
I keep my pickles there.
Oh, in your second basement.
Yeah.
That's nice and cool.
Yeah, very cool. For storage.
Right. Next up here, we have the Fakahatchee Knitting Club with their float Under the Blood Rain. I love to see people taking advantage of local events right here at home. And an interesting fact about this float, Duck, literally everything on this float is made of yarn.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. I mean, that looks like it's just going to be donated to Goodwill in 2 years.
Right. Look at them. They're getting absolutely soaked in yarn out there.
Yeah. Isn't that where all yarn ends up? Do you own anything with yarn in it?
I can't say that I do.
Do they call themselves yardists?
I don't know.
I mean, is that what the term they use to describe themselves for creating yarn art? Hi, I'm a yardist. Right now, man, I wish they could, knit themselves some kind of paddle or a flotation device because they are just getting absolutely wrecked.
Yeah, a lot of that yarn is soaking up a lot of the water in the street. You know, there's nothing to be done because even their umbrellas out there are packed to the gills with yarn.
Yeah, I mean, it is like watching just trash being made right now. I mean, this is just it's gonna be a lot of wet garbage bags tonight.
Here's another fun fact for you about the Fakahatchee Yarn Club. The Fakahatchee Knitting Club. Is they started earliest on their float, and they were knitting since right after the Mayor's Day Parade last year.
Oh, these are the same people who like to knit that stuff around the trees downtown, right?
Yes, the tree warmers.
Yeah, that always bothers me.
Yeah, it's really unnecessary.
Well, it's just kind of like the tree has bark. You know, how do we know the tree likes sweaters?
Yeah.
Clothing. You know, it just seems a little presumptuous.
Yeah, you know, the sycamores get cold in the winter.
It's Florida!
Well, Duck, one float that I know that we will be missing this year is the Crumbler Farms float.
Oh, rest in peace.
It's really a shame that they burned down. But I did hear that the land and the name are being sold off to help pay restitution to the insurance and for Robart Crumbler Jr. to cover his legal fees.
You know, I'm just gonna miss those goose cracklings.
Yeah.
And the chumwums.
Yeah, the chumwums.
Just a big old greasy bag of chumwums.
Oh, man, you get a big old scoop of chumwums and some glinchins.
Mm-hmm.
Man, if glinchins for dipping.
Yo, I know. I always get them caught between my teeth, but I'm fine with that because I'm like, I'll have you later. You know?
Well, you'll be excited to hear that Little Whispers are saying that Crumbler Farms may come back.
Oh, my goodness. Don't you make promises you can't keep.
I'm not making the promise.
Don't you be writing checks with your mouth that you can't cash.
It's looking like it won't be affiliated with the family in any way, but it will be Crumbler Farms in spirit is what I'm hearing.
Well, as long as they have chumwums, I think most people get on board with it. You know, I mean, it's like, yeah, you want the family to be affiliated, but really, it's like, I didn't eat the family.
Yeah.
You know?
You just want a good deal on Blorgles.
Yeah, I eat the corn whiskers.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing that really, when it comes down to it, you know, I would go into Crumbler Farms for is the nutritiously, you know, greasy food.
Right. And the great values on it.
Oh, and they always used to have grease on draft, and that was just nice to get yourself like a cup, you know, on a Friday to treat yourself and just suck down some grease after a long week. I mean, that felt good.
Coming up next, here's a friend of yours, Doc, Richard Basebon's election committee.
Yeah.
His float is called Under the Gun, and there's Richard waving with a big sign that says just one more term. It's probably the biggest gun I've seen on a float, not counting cannons, of course.
No, that's a very large gun. Why would we say that's like an extra large handgun? I don't know where you find bullets for something like that.
I don't know, but it's apparently made from a bunch of donated guns of people around Fakahatchee.
Oh, so it's like a super gun.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a gun inception.
Duck, let me ask you. Richard Basebon always seems to be suffering from something. What is, give us a scoop. Is he like the miracle man? How is all these other diseases he's had been cured?
Well, Horace, I mean, I think you just hit the nail on the head. He is suffering, but aren't we all? I mean, do not we have all our own crosses or Jewish stars or, you know, whatever like Islam like supports, you know, to carry?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know what all the shapes of all the different religions are. I just know like the Jewish.
I think there's like some moons.
Yeah. There's like, I just think of that coexist sticker. There's like a yin yang symbol. There's like a harvest moon.
Yeah.
And then there's like I don't know, just some other squiggly screws. But, you know, it's like everybody's got their things going on, and he just powers through it. And I think it comes down to having a positive mindset.
Oh,
you know,
right.
I mean, and I'm not saying that if you have a negative mindset, you're going to die of like cancer or something. I mean, there's probably some people with positive mindsets who died, you know, in the past as well, but, you know, I haven't met them.
Right. Well, it's the power of positivity.
Yeah, I've been reading that 9 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's real good.
Are you reading the whole thing or just a chunk from it and then putting it back in the library hole?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? This one, I read the whole thing. Because my friend told me, he says, you get that 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But then I was going through the bargain basement bin, you know, and I saw the one for 9 habits. And I was like, well, 9 is like 3 more than 7.
Right.
So I chose that one because that's a good deal.
Yeah. I mean, and you're getting more habits per dollar.
Yeah, but the 8 and 9 were just, it said read 1 and 2 again. So it wasn't really, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of a scam. Well, coming right down Main Street now, it's our good friends at Subway, who were so instrumental in sponsoring all the testing for Mastica Ennui, and all aboard their giant submarine sandwich-shaped float, which is called Under Sway.
You know, it's so just fortuitous that the sandwich is a submarine sandwich and we got a water parade.
Yeah.
I mean,
it really worked in their favor.
I'm glad we're not in part of the country that calls them heroes.
Or grinders.
Grinders. That one makes me a little bit uncomfortable, but also interested.
Yeah. You know, fun fact about this float, Doc, is Subway brags that you can eat every part of it.
Get out.
No, they're literally putting down $10,000 and saying that you could eat any part of this float.
I could just go up there and throw my mouth onto it like the fake teeth that guy in the Goonies uses, Data. I can just go chomp and take it out and
anything.
Swallow. That is amazing. This is my favorite float.
I thought you'd like that. And riding on the Undersway is, of course, the queen of meat herself, folk artist Rita Aubert. And she's wearing a diving suit concocted entirely of cold cuts.
She looks gorgeous, and I bet you she smells even better.
Oh man, when the sun hits those cold cuts, it's just absolutely stunning. It's so shiny.
Is there anything better in the world than the smell of tepid salami? Room temp. Oh.
Well, you know who's probably enjoying that smell is Fakahatchee's own medicine man, Dr. Leonard Skinny Scroggins.
Oh, here we go.
He is just another bullet in the machine gun we used to take down Mastica Ennui. Let's be honest, some folks out there are still suffering, and like Hot Sauce Man for one.
Absolutely.
And this parade almost didn't happen because Hot Sauce Man threatened to attack it. But of course, thankfully, KFAK's Tiffany Bunzell, who's right down there next to the parade route, agreed to go on a date with him. Ooh. Isn't that right, Tiffany?
Thanks, Horace. Yes, it's true. After much insistence from the community and City Council member Richard Baisbon in particular, I did agree to go on a date with the Hot Sauce Man to assure the safety of the parade. I have to say, Hot Sauce Man was a true gentleman, even though he never untied my hands or took the burlap sack off my head. It was scary and a little unnerving, but that being said, having my head in a sack really removed the pressure of a potential goodnight kiss. I did find it very limiting in some respects, and it did ruin the dinner he cooked for me, as my tied hands couldn't pick up the tacos he'd prepared. I also couldn't eat them through the bag, which seemed to frustrate him. I could smell the tacos through the bag, however, and I'm happy to report they smelled delicious. He said they were handmade, and I'm inclined to believe it. Though I have no evidence to that effect. Afterwards, he returned me safe and sound to the alley behind Baisbon Mercantile, and that's why I'm broadcasting next to the parade today. And what a beautiful day it is for it. Back to you, Horace and Duck.
You're absolutely right, Tiffany. It is an exquisite day for a parade, and we're so happy that you put yourself out there like that and helped make it all happen.
I'm assuming Hot Sauce Man is going to have all kinds of hot sauces when he goes out on a date.
You would
with
think
her.
so. You think he would have left her with like a goodie bag of some sort.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if that's going to be your thing, you got to make it your thing, you know?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. But we'll check back with you.
I like to see his junk drawer. You know that thing is full of hot sauce. All gone.
Literally no soy sauce in there at all.
Oh, God, no.
Maybe red chili pepper flakes from like the pizzas. I don't know if that, maybe not. But here comes the Fakahatchee Owls Club on their float under where? This is sponsored by the Kissimmee Liquor Her Beverage Co. They're currently running a special on Moondog Lager, just $10 for a 12-pack. And Duck, look at those owls standing in that big paper mache pair of tidy whities, happy as can be, holding magnifying glasses.
Ooh, wow, look at that.
What do you think they're looking for in there?
Balls?
Could be.
Yeah, I mean, I figured. You know, that's usually what's in underwear, right?
Right.
You know,
yeah.
Just big old balls.
There's over 20,000 rolls of toilet paper making up those tidy whities.
Wow.
It's incredible.
That is a lot of shit tickets.
Yeah, so if you've ever experienced a shortage of toilet paper in like the last year and a half, they have been stockpiling for this float today.
Oh, so that's what they've been doing now.
Yeah.
What I'm worried about is that toilet paper getting wet and going the way of the yarn.
You may be worried about it getting wet. I'm worried about it getting wet and then drying somewhere we don't want it.
Right, yeah, I mean...
Could clog Main Street.
Well, we're going to have to... We could use it as a dam, like kind of like a sandbag situation.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many rolls up there where we could store it somewhere on the city.
Yeah.
But I'm just worried, like, right now we got a lot of wet yarn, we're getting wet toilet paper, and we're going to need that toilet paper if we're going to eat that Subway sandwich.
You're absolutely right, Doc. And it's always good at times like this to call out the good work that the Fakahatchee Owls do. So they helped fund the teardown of the rec center after it was, infested, for lack of a better word, by a bunch of breakdancers squatting in there, just having so many breakdance fights and boogaloos.
And that's the problem with breakdancing is it's got break in the name.
Yeah.
They were busting up walls, studs. They were busting up like supporting studs.
Right.
Like that was support beams. I mean, it's just like...
It was rough.
Why can't it just be build dancing? Like that's what I want the youth of today is to like, instead of tearing stuff down, why don't you try building something up? I built a gator farm with my bare hands. Well, I mean, I was wearing a pair of gloves, so I don't want to...
It still counts.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't want to get calluses.
Yeah. You want those soft hands so people know you're rich when you're in your glass house.
That's right. I'm going to shake people's hands and they're going to be like, oh my God, are you a baby? Are you an ugly baby? That's my goal, of course.
Well, Doc, why don't we take a moment and we'll go to an ad here for... Well, I guess I don't have to know what the ad is.
Like, hey, real quick, a little hot tip. Ad is short for advertisement. I learned that in a book, too.
You had that feeling, right? That feeling of spinning a pile of your hard-earned clams on high-quality cat toys, but when you bring them home, the little fluffy mittens of Louise Von Meowness, they turn their nose up at it like a snoot, like Kate Middleton when you shove a cocktail weenie into her face. I, TK Cuddles, insist you don't blow your cheddar on fancy cat toys. I've got loads of shit that a cat will play with. Shipping boxes, old rubber bands, a severed lizard's tail, an old burrito wrapper. Hell, even a champagne cork from a bottle of Puce Higgins at low, low prices. I don't give a shit about that cork anymore. It's from my wedding. Your pussies will go bonkers for my trash, and you'll go bonkers for my prices. Just walk into my shop and grab some trash off the floor. You'll know it's good. Why? Because I test each product by putting it on a shelf. If my cat Tango don't straight knock it on the floor, I know that it's no good and I don't sell it. Don't use my shelves. Just don't even think about using my shelves. I'm begging you. I beg you, don't use my shelves. We sell couch arms also. I chainsawed them myself. Why buy a whole couch when they only want an arm to scratch on? That's a wasted couch, I say. So, walk in and pick up some shit off of the ground, and when you take it home, you snuggle puff. That dingus is gonna go nuts for an injured cricket, an ice cube, a hair tie, all of it. That's the TK Cuddles guarantee. I wouldn't say it otherwise. I'd steer you in here with the red laser, but I think when you see my prices, you'll agree that that's the real catnip. TKCattrash.com if you're one of those shut-ins who does all the shopping online.
All right, and we are back, and oh boy, Doc, here it is.
Wow.
You're going to want to put your hands over your children's eyes for this one if you're a big-time prude.
My God, I feel like I should be paying for this.
It is the erotic Potter's Cabal with their float down under the sea. The float's practically infamous at this point.
That's a letter C. They're doing one of them,
Automatopoeias?
That's it. That's the one.
Well, as you may know, if you read the Fakahatchee Gazette, this float was initially censored by the Parade Float Committee. But they appealed the decision, and it's out here in full display.
Horace, is that a mermaid? What's going on?
I think so. It's a giant, it says here, a giant reverse mermaid with a fish head and a human lower half, which I have to say has been painstakingly constructed out of clay right down to the bare rump that's facing the crowd.
Yeah, it really has. I feel like I should not be looking at this in public. I should be looking at this in the privacy of my own home.
Right. And, it's moving.
Whoa,
my.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy, the mermaid is spinning to face the crowd.
I know what that is.
They, I gotta say, they perfectly sculpted the labia as well.
I have seen one of those before. Just once, but I remember it.
That is wild. And of course, riding on that float is Billy the Bull from the hit FBS show Bull in a China Shop.
Yeah, he's a real bad boy of pottery.
Yeah, look at him. He's giving the crowd the finger. Right back at you, Billy, you son of a gun. Okay, he's pretending to perform cunnilingus on the Reverse Mermaid, and
so that's how you do that. Okay, this is now we're just going to get informative, to be honest.
well, look, I mean, I think that might be one of the plays they make to avoid a fine of some sort if they can pass it off as some sort of educational float.
I got to tell you, that Billy looks like he can learn people a thing or two. I mean, he just looks so in charge. I mean, it is. He's got a lot of confidence, that guy. I'm kind of a little bit jealous of him.
He's very cocksure.
Yeah. Well, are we allowed to say that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Because I don't think you can say, but you can say cocksure. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. It is weird.
It's like I can't run and be around and just yell, but then if I say cocksure, everyone's like, oh, he's got a big old vocab.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I'll just put the word sure on the end of other words that you're not really supposed to say. That way it'll be okay.
Yeah.
I'll be sure of that.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That works.
All right. And coming up, the very next float is, this one is from Otter Trader. Not sure how much your used otter is worth. I'm missing, ear torn.
Literally no idea how much my otter is worth.
Well, Duck, don't you worry, because Otter Trader's no-hassle system will give you a fair quote on your otter, no matter what shape it's in.
Wow, that just sounds like a good old deal.
Yeah. And this float is called Beyond Underdome. It depicts an otter family after the apocalypse when global warming has covered the earth with water. And this family of otters is living safe and sound in a little dome safe from the swirling ocean around them.
Now, I thought they were going to do like a Waterworld theme, where they had like an otter Kevin Costner who was stuck up on the flagpole. Mm-hmm. You remember when that happened when they were shooting that movie? He got stuck up there for 30 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, too bad he came down because then they finished the rest of the movie.
Well, I do love Waterworld, Duck, so I may not agree with you there.
Yeah, I'm a real anti-Kevin Costner guy.
Ooh.
Yeah, he is like the Keurig coffee of actor. It's just fine, I guess.
Well, I also have to say, Duck, that
you never ask for Keurig coffee. It's not like it's not your number one like ask. It's like, oh, do you have Keurig coffee? You have a way to make coffee that's somehow more expensive and doesn't taste as good? Oh, you do Keurig. Oh, that's great. That's great.
This float hits a little different with the streets flooded.
Oh yeah, I mean it's definitely on point. It's on theme. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's almost hitting that damn tool in my hand.
Yeah.
A little bit like, okay, we get it.
Yeah, kind of a little bit preachy. We all get it.
But I got a trunk full of otters that I don't know what to do with. So, I mean, I'm definitely going to use their service.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, they're the number one in the otter trade-in category.
Well, yeah, but who's number two?
I don't know.
I mean, they're cornering the market right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly should open up an otter portion of the gator farm. But, I mean, honestly, Greg, the gator Luganis, is probably going to eat all of them. So I was like, I can't really do that.
Yeah.
Some of my decisions are made for me when you have gators.
Absolutely. What have we got here? Why, it's a giant Marilyn Monroe recreating her famous skirt flying up with a dress made entirely of white carnation.
Oh, that's just beautiful right there.
Yeah. Glorious. It's like she's walking on water out there. And this float is called Und Her. She's raising her dress now, and you better turn away, folks. We have already seen one labia today. There's no telling if we're about to see another one. Oh, it's a bait and switch from the sanctuary.
Oh, man.
She's wearing panties that say God is love.
Oh, well, that's just... I mean, that's just something you have to think about.
Yeah.
When you think you're going to see one thing, which is a juicy labia, and then you don't. You see God is love, but you're like, you know what? That's good because my mind was going to be dirty, and now it's going to be full of God's love.
Right. I wouldn't expect anything less from the sanctuary. 5 years running is Florida's sexiest church.
Yeah, they really knew. They packed the pews.
Yeah.
Because they know sex sells Jesus.
Mm-hmm. I mean, of course, they did lose it earlier this year when they were attacked by gators. And we hope to talk with.
None of my gators did that. That was not like that. Those were like.
Well, you came on the show. I think you distanced yourself from that nicely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody saw that. Florida Greg Louganis out there.
Yeah. I mean, that was just something that nobody could have foreseen coming, and and I just hope they keep doing their thing.
Right. So you ever go to the sanctuary, Doc?
I mean, yeah.
Do you go there for the drink nights?
Oh, I would go there definitely for the drink nights for sure. I mean, it was just a great place to look at women. Mm-hmm. Occasionally, even talk to some
Sister
of them.
Chastity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, she was my two favorite things. chastity,
Right.
and be my sister.
Yeah.
Because that's just family.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, here we go. It is the Fakahatchee Children's Marching Band. They were absolutely determined to march today. They could not be swayed away from it.
Wow, they're just splashing up a storm out there, Horace.
I didn't expect to see anybody using a clarinet as a snorkel today, but
this looks like a rendition of Stomp.
Of course, the famous Broadway sensation that's run for how many years is Stomping around now?
I mean, I feel like it's always been a part of our life at this point. I mean, I want to say, 40 years?
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Right.
Ever since they invented garbage cans, people strapped them on their feet and started walking around on them.
Next thing you know, they've got a Tony Award. Well, let's take a moment to check in with Tiffany, who's along the parade route, and see how the crowd is feeling things today.
Thanks, Duck. Thanks, Horace. I'm waving back if you can even see me from your perch way up there. You look as absolutely dry as an old man's skin. Well, as you'd expect, excitement is very high down here, and so is the water level. Lots of cheering and clapping and splashing. They literally wouldn't shut up and stop making waves for half a second. Like, have a little respect for those of us who are out here working. Now, Horace, I'm seeing a lot of children on their parents' shoulders to get a good view of the parade, and also to avoid drowning in the 3 feet of water in the streets, thanks to Mayor Mikey Dusoleil. But I spoke to a few parade goers, and it seems the mayor was absolutely right. The fact that this was going to be a boat parade made it a must-watch for many of the people out here today. And a lot of Fakahatchee residents are already calling it a parade to remember, and I'm inclined to agree. Back to you, Horace.
Well, thank you very much, Tiffany.
Man, this crowd, it's like a Gallagher show. There's just stuff getting all over them.
Oh, they're rowdy. They're loving it.
Yeah, they're loving it, but they're also kind of angry, too.
It is going to be one to remember.
It's just one of those ones, it kind of feels like there's a riot brewing or something,
Yeah.
that energy you get when you go to like an NFL football game.
Or like Woodstock 99.
Yeah, or like when you go to some place like a fair and you're like, there's way too many people here without their shirt on. Like, something's going to bad happen. When more than 50% of the people don't have shirts, it's like, oh, hell, someone's going to shoot a gun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like this is a good crowd.
Next up, speaking of good crowds, we've got the Bustas Who Busta,
Woo-wee.
the only African-American paranormal removal organization in Florida. Today, they're dressed as French resistance fighters on a float called Viva la Underground.
Yeah, it looks like a France via circa, what do you think, 1944?
Yeah, I would say that's probably France, 1944.
The part of Hitler's ghost, I don't know if you know this, is being played by Daniel Scam. Part of his community service, which I think is
fantastic.
just great.
Yeah, it's good to see Daniel getting back out there and ingratiating himself in the community. God, I gotta say, Duck, that mustache, that Hitler mustache, it really seems to fit him.
Yeah, he is pulling it off, because not a lot of people can pull off that mustache anymore. One of the many things that Hitler ruined for us.
Yeah, it's true. You can't even name your kids Adolf anymore.
Yeah, and Adolf was a nice, strong name until, he went and messed it up.
Adolfo, passable.
It's still a little weird.
Yeah, it gets a little dicey.
Yeah.
Of course, the Bustas Who Busta have also had a bit of a hard time since Mayor Luis Vamonos banned ghost spirits and poltergeists from the town. What do you think about that, Doc?
I mean, I kind of supported it, to be honest. But also, it's one of those rules that I feel like it's hard to enforce. Mm-hmm. Like a permit for when you purchase a baby gator. Like, yeah, you could have a law on the books, but how are you going to enforce that? Kind of seems impossible.
Right.
Also, I don't want to get a permit for it.
Yeah. Well, it's big government with their permits.
Yeah, it's hard to enforce laws when people don't want to follow it.
Yeah.
I kind of, because there's a lot of laws out there that I'm just like, no thanks. It's kind of like a buffet. That's how I view government. And let's just say I'm not that hungry,
Absolutely. Hello here to the children of St. Jerome's, accompanied by Pastor Father Michael Petrie. Good to see the Father isn't looking down on us from above with a tank full of something to spray on the parade today. Of course, Father Michael Petrie doing community service himself after, spraying the town with holy water.
It's just so great to see so many people in the community doing community service against their will.
Yeah.
The system works
It's I have to say, Doc, I think it's what keeps society afloat.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you did there. That was going Horace.
Yep. Speaking of afloat, they're out there in a whole gaggle of paddle boats, and I gotta say, those children are looking cute as a button, dressed as adorable little murder goslings. You ever deal with the murder geese, Duck?
Yeah, who hasn't? I mean, that murder geese, it is like a John Wayne Gacy with wings, just ripping it up.
Right.
I mean, that's really the problem. You know, people worry about gangs.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what kind? You know, because I don't worry about people. I worry about the ones with wings, the ones that can take flight. Those are the ones that keep me up at night and scare me.
Even with all your watch gators.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the watch gators, but the way gators are, if you take a look at their eyes, they're very low to the ground, so they have a lot of difficulty looking up.
Oh,
you know, like
a blind spot.
Yeah, when a gator points his mouth up, that's like, okay, he's like, it's like when you decide to get up off the couch when you're like, all right, man, I'm gonna do this. You know, like you gotta psych yourself up for it because it's hard after you've been like watching TV for like 7-8 hours.
Yeah, maybe your legs asleep.
I mean, you just had a whole cup of grease, you know, from Crumbler Farms. It's like you don't want to get up and do anything. So like it's kind of like what a gator's going on because you know it's just like you bend it back. It's like it's like making your ankle go in the direction it's not supposed to. Like gators aren't really supposed to move like that.
Yeah.
So the murder geese do have that aerial kind of view. They can come on down and get us.
That's terrifying. I thought for sure that you'd be safe.
We do a pretty good job because gators are like very scary, but like, it's still a test.
All right.
You know, I don't trust anything that's north of my head. That's why I don't climb trees.
And yet, you know so much about the sycamores.
Well, what's a sycamore? I mean, how do you not know it? I mean, it's like the Marilyn Monroe of trees. Probably because I'm always looking up its branches.
Well, here's a float I've been looking forward to all day, Doc.
I don't have sex with trees. I just realized that might be what people are thinking, but I don't. I mean, you know, like, yeah, I've rubbed up against a few trees, but who hasn't?
Yeah, you know.
You just want to see what it feels like, just the bark. You know, rubbing up against you, it feels good. You know, but I don't have sex with them. I mean, you know.
Right.
Like I don't have non-consensual. You know, anything we do it's a consensual approach. If you see a hole, what are you going to do? Not put something in it?
Yeah, I mean,
you know, it's like the same thing on the gas tank of a car.
It's the call of the hole.
I don't have sex with cars either.
Hey, Duck, here's a float that I'm looking forward to. Maybe all day. It's Thunder in Paradise.
Oh.
Brought to you by Brogger's Burger Barge. Drive to the end of the road and then keep going for some of the finest burgers you've ever eaten. Brogger's Burger Barge, of course, uniquely ready for the challenges of an aquatic parade.
I've had a burger on a boat, you know, and I've had a burger on dry land, but I gotta tell you, having a burger on a barge just hits you different.
It's just better on the water.
Yeah, it just feels nice. And it doesn't sway like a boat does. A barge just like, hey, I'm sitting here. You cool? And it's like, I'm good.
Right.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, they've made the entire restaurant. This is gonna sound crazy. They've made it float down Main Street. They trimmed all the whatever it is below the water line, and they are making their way down there.
I don't even know how are they running all the fryers? What are they connected to?
I don't know. I really don't know. But they've decorated the restaurant with 25-foot tall versions of Hulk Hogan's character Randolph J. Hurricane Spencer and Martin Brubaker, of course, from Thunder in Paradise. And they've made the entire barge look like the wicked fast speedboat Thunder. But you and I know the truth, don't we, Doc? There is just a delicious restaurant under there.
Yeah, and it's so funny they make it look like a speedboat because after you've had a burger on the burger barge, you do not feel like moving.
Oh,
you
no.
know, like you're not going anywhere.
No, I feel like a breakwater, if anything. Just let the water rush over me and take over.
Do you ever get that burger where they put a burger on top of your burger?
Yeah.
Like, the double burger.
Yeah. I mean, the top one is really more of a slider, but
it still works.
It's two burgers.
What's that? What they call that? The heart attack or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you have a heart attack, you get it for free.
It's true.
Yeah.
They say if you can make it out of the restaurant without being stopped, you get it for free, and nobody ever stops the EMTs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, on the Thunder in Paradise is the Fakahatchee Tickle Club. And pro gamer Lil Yumnut. Lil Yumnut, of course, has his hands in, what are those, special plexiglass cubes? I think probably to keep his hands safe.
No, you mean he's a pro gamer, so was he just play like tic-tac-toe and Connect 4 and stuff like that?
No, I think he plays like the digital game.
Oh, he plays them on the computer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Told he's fragged a lot of folks with those famous fists. But he's practically unstoppable with a controller in his hand.
Must make him hard to do anything else in his life, though, with those glass cubes around his hands.
Well, I think he takes them off. I think it's just to, like, protect them in public.
Oh, in, like, public situations? Okay, because I get, like, well, what if I'm going to shake his hand? I'm going to break it?
I would think he wouldn't want you to.
Well, I'm not going to, but I'm just saying, like, I'd shake lots of people's hands and I don't break them.
Well, it's very protective.
Now I kind of just want to shake his hand and break it.
I'm not going to stop you, is what I was about to say, so I may have some unresolved feelings here about little Yumnut.
Yeah, I just got some... It's just something about that, like, oh, you got some glasses all over your hands to protect them? I just want to make sure I break them. I have him come down to the Gator Farm, wave. I'll go Greg the Gator Luganus on him.
Well, of course, this is not working out well for Lil Yumnut. You do not want your hands in cubes when you're around the Fakahatchee Tickle Club, do you, Doc?
Yeah, no, I just gotta tell you, like, I think I'm just angry at youth, because it's just things that I don't understand, so I gotta talk to my therapist about that.
Where would you fall on digital gators?
Digital? You better shut your mouth.
Oh? The future's coming, Doc.
Digital gators. I'm sorry, Horace. That was just knee-jerk reaction to not understanding the technology. I don't know. I guess I did hear this one thing called virtual. Okay, well, it's like a virtual real something. Mm-hmm. And like it's like you put on this this little helmet, and it's like you could see things inside the helmet. And so that'd be kind of cool if you could put on a helmet and then you just see a bunch of gators up in your grill.
What if you became the gator?
Oh my God, that's an amazing idea.
You could be at the forefront of something really special.
You could like just see your snout in front of you. So oh wow, that'd be amazing. You can't look up because obviously gators can't look up, or it's hard.
Well, next up here we have the Fakahatchee community players performing a scene from Dear Julian Assange, a new play featuring a quiet young teen founder of WikiLeaks, desperate to connect with someone after being grounded.
We have such an active town.
Yeah.
There are so many things going down in this town in Fakahatchee.
I cannot think of a better time to cut away for an ad than right as this play starts.
Hey, y'all, happy Mayor's Day. Duck Winters here, and ain't no Mayor's Day complete without a trip to the Duck Winters Gatorganza to see the beautiful, delicious, handcrafted mayor of meat being tossed to the gators for a violent delight. It's a snack for the gators and a treat for your eyes. We nailed the likeness of Mikey Du Soleil perfectly using strips of pork this year in a way we could never quite get with the Mayor Luis Vamonos. We think that when you see it, you'll be like, oh no! They've thrown the real Mikey Du Soleil into the gator hit. But no, we didn't. Even if we wanted to, which I kind of do, but we won't. Maybe. Just kidding. So don't wait. You can get a family pack of tickets for just $17.50 or spring for the VIP tickets, which throws in 4 gator dogs and swamp slaw and 4 frosty 160-ounce beverages and a keepsake sack, and your kiddos will be leaving with a plush stuffed meat of the mayor that's going to be lovingly bitten and torn by our gators for a keepsake and a good time they'll never forget right here at Duck Winters Gatorganza! Woo! We're never going to die!
All right, and welcome back to the Fakahatchee Mayor's Day Parade. If you're just tuning in, I am joined here by Duck Winters.
Hey, Horace. I am so glad to be here on this momentous occasion.
Duck, do you think it's weird that we're broadcasting a largely visual event?
No.
All right. Our next float coming up is called Under a Watchful Eye, and riding that float is Fliff Moonkiss, Pet Dream Interpreter, and all of those rambunctious little rascals that make up the Swamp Scouts are running in and out of the mouth. The eye the title refers to in this case is, of course, the third eye.
I once had a gator once that had a third eye.
Really?
Yeah, he used to sell tickets so people could come take a look at it.
Oh, like an actual physical eye?
Yeah, no, it was a real physical eye.
Wow.
It came out of a swamp. You know that one swamp down by the nuclear power plant? Yeah, so it came out of there, and I was like, oh my God, this thing's got a third eye. I could probably make a lot of money off this. But it died pretty quickly because it had a third eye and all. So there's a lot of things going on in that gator. I opened it up. It had 2 hearts.
Right.
You
Well,
know.
in this case, I think the third eye refers to the ability to see what is beyond the visual.
So wait, where's that eye?
It's supposedly in your forehead?
Wait, do they have an eye forehead?
No, I don't think it's an actual, like, eye. Like, you couldn't be poked by, like, one of the Three Stooges there.
Oh, so
Somebody
wait,
was
they're
doing,
just-
like, an eye poke.
So they're just saying like it's an eye that's there?
Yeah, like, you're supposed to be able to see. Look, I'm just calling it like I see
yeah,
it. But I don't
that
actually
just sounds
see it.
like 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound bag right there. Just like, oh, you have an eye, but you can't see out of it. Oh, but you can. But it's like, I only trust things that I could see, hear, in the other senses.
Right. Well, in this case, it's been lovingly rendered as a bright ray of light coming out of the forehead of that head-shaped float.
Wait, so hold on. Is it an eye or is it like a thing that projects light? There's a lot of things going on here that I just don't get.
I think there's a lot of metaphors happening here for...
Because I don't have like normal light coming out of my eyes.
No.
You mean that would be so rad if I did?
I would
Your
find it a
eyes
little
were
frightening.
like flashlights?
Oh.
Oh my gosh. I wouldn't
Like the old cartoons.
Yeah, I wouldn't have to hold up my phone all the time when
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for stuff outside. I'd go outside, just open up my eyes and be like, wow, look at all that stuff.
It would always be right where you pointed, right where you were looking.
It'd be hard to be a peeping Tom then, though.
That is true. You would be caught quite quickly.
I'm not a peeping Tom. I do look at things at night, and sometimes I see things that I probably shouldn't be seeing, but I wouldn't say I'm peeping.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a looking duck, but I'm not like a peeping Tom.
Right.
If we were going to call it something, I think we should have a creepier name for it than Tom. I know a lot of Toms. A lot of Toms are nice guys.
Yeah.
You want to call something like I'm a peeping Kenneth. Ugh.
Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, even the word
off-putting.
Kenneth, it's just like, it's just real like,
Ugh.
it's like, no thank you.
That's not rubbing up on Burke there. That's real unpleasant. So the next float, there isn't one, apparently. This space is empty. Originally...
It's weird they just didn't close it in.
Yeah, it's they still left it there. This was going to be Scrit Chowderhorn and his T-ball walkers. They did not enter afloat, even after registering.
Well, that's right. I thought they were gonna do a whole thing.
Well, they did at one point threaten the parade, in talking about hiding underneath the manholes of the street and chucking candy and throwing out bombs. And I'm maybe actually a little relieved that there's a blank space here.
It's one of those, sometimes you hear people's plans and you gotta be like, man, I'm glad you're not doing that, because that is a great plan. Like hiding underneath manhole covers, I would never thought of that. That would just surprise everybody.
I think that was the concern. Yeah, even after they mentioned it on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People, in this town are just very honest, Horace. And I want to thank you for your show, because you give people an outlet to come out and say what they really think.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
I mean, there's not a lot of radio shows to listen to in town, but still, we listen to yours, not because there aren't other ones to listen to, because there aren't really, but still, though, it's kudos to you.
Well, it's always nice to hear.
You got a real monopoly on our hearts.
I serve at the pleasure of KFAK. There he is, the man himself, Fakahatchee's own success story, Tucker St. Clair. His float is called I Don't Care About the Theme. Love Tucker.
Wow, that's a great theme.
Yeah. I gotta say, Duck, you have to love the brash attitude he takes to disruption in his business. And he's doing it right here on the parade.
Yeah, he's another bad boy, he's just sometimes, and there's just something about him that's just so endearing and charismatic.
Oh, interesting. I would have thought that maybe there was some bad blood between you guys. You did break his arm in the hands on a hard desk, and you almost beat him out for mayor before Mikey Dusolet pulled, frankly, some shenanigans.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to argue that. There were shenanigans all over the place.
Yeah.
But here's the thing with Bad Blood Horse. I did have bad blood with him, but then I spilled some of his blood.
Right.
And then it's okay.
Oh, it's okay
as long
blood
as we
now.
have a physical fight and I win, there's no hard feelings.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a great way to go through life.
Yeah. I'm inclined to agree.
I can physically hurt you, I will forgive the emotional hurt you have inflicted upon me. And I just do that because I'm a bigger man.
Yeah.
Physically. I mean, I whooped that boy's ass.
Right.
I whooped that boy's butt.
Well, in between throwing out cans of Scud to the crowd, Tucker Sinclair is also pretending to mix up a giant batch of Scud. But this can only has 4 Ds in it. Where's the 5th D in Scud, Doc?
What?
It seems to be missing.
Well, you gotta have another D if it's otherwise it's not Scud.
Oh, there he is. The dribbler's got it.
Oh, this is the dribbler. Give that D back, dribbler.
The dribbler's responsible
We're gonna light you
anytime.
up.
Dribbler's responsible anytime you find a chunk of something in your Scud. From an old screw to a banana sticker or a toenail, he exists only to ruin your refresh.
Damn that dribbler!
And he's done it again.
We're gonna light you on fire!
You hate to see the dribbler ruin another can of Scud.
It truly is the worst thing that could happen in the world.
Yeah, it's so unpleasant. And I got a can of Scud right here that I've just been handed. This looks like Bahama Sleaze.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, real tastes like the dregs of the ocean.
Oh, that hits just right. Dribbler didn't get to this one.
Yeah, no, if he did, I would. I'm gonna shoot you, dribbler! I'm gonna shoot you with my gun! Yeah, that's why I just love it. Everyone comes in town, they come together about how they want to do the dribbler physical harm. You know, I know it's all an act, but like sometimes I honestly think it isn't. I want to hurt that guy.
Right. Well, and you know, he's got one mission. To ruin your refresh, and mission not accomplished.
Yeah, man, what a weird motivation for your life. It's just to go and like rain on other people's parade. Like, I want to go and ruin your fresh. Like, just like, you know, but part of me thinks like, man, what kind of home the dribbler must have
bad parenting,
grew up,
maybe.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just they must have been just real.
I don't know.
Not a place to look. I'm gonna hit you with my car. You bet I will.
Well, Duck, I don't know who this is flashing down the street alone with an American flag for a cape, but they seem to be holding a sign that says, Nazi hunter, where's my medal?
That's a good guy right there.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
He's, I can just barely make out. He seems to be yelling something about a dog.
That's the guy who killed that Nazi dog.
Oh.
Remember that dog that was a Nazi?
Well, not well.
Well, I mean, okay, alleged Nazi, but you know what? I'd rather be sure that there are no Nazis than have alleged Nazis.
Yeah.
Okay? And that guy, he deserves a medal. He did kill that dog.
Right. Oh, well, you can't argue with that. But even he's out here today in the parade. I don't know if he was officially sanctioned, but he's out there.
Yeah, he doesn't feel like the kind of guy who knows how to fill out a form.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, at the buffet of forms, I feel like he leaves empty-plated.
Yep.
All right. Well, next up, we've got Under a Blue Sky from McGrave and Sons and Also a Daughter Mortuary depicting... Oh, this is lovely, Duck. Remember when little baby Jessica was placed into a large stock pot and her parents put all those balloons on it, and then they sent her up into the sky to shake hands with Jesus?
Yep.
Wonderful. She's still got a way to go here on the float. She hasn't reached the end yet. I just so heartwarming to see this rendered out in pasta.
And I thought that was just so nice to parents to like, they wanted to get closer to Jesus. So they were just like, let's put this baby in a pot, put some balloons around it, and make it happen. And, you know, I always appreciate anybody that has a dream and just goes for it. Unless that dream is to open a competing gator farm.
Right.
You know, I can't think of any other dream that I would be against.
You got to shut that down fast.
Yeah, no, town is only big enough for one gator farm.
Yeah.
You
and of course you have two.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I know, but I own both of them, so it's okay.
It's one gator farm, but just split.
It's one gator farm company.
Yeah.
You know, I have an S Corp.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
for tax reasons.
Yeah. Well, I just like the name S Corp.
Oh, right.
My account was saying all the names of different things like corporations and like, you know, trust. And she said S Corp, and I was like, I like the sound of that.
Right.
You know, because do you remember at Crumbler Farms you could get Corpsums?
Yes, Corpsums.
Yeah. So like they didn't have it, and so S Corp reminded me of Corpsums, and I was like, oh, I like Corpsums. They were like that. They were that gum that was in the shape of teeth.
Yeah.
And you would put you put that piece of gum into that missing tooth that you had. You know, like if your molar was out.
And then the flavor would last like all day.
Yeah, and it would chew, but then it would turn into like, I don't know why they discontinued those. Those were so good. And then when you're done, you just swallow it.
So good. Yeah. Corpsums. Love them. Miss them.
Yeah, I know. The Crumpler Farms has been a real hit for the community, but I think we're going to bounce back because that's just what we do.
Yeah. All right. Well, next up, Duck, we've got the Fakahatchee Bird Snubbers. They're on their float called This Is Why. Pretty bold play here to not even wave at the crowd.
Yeah, they don't even look like they're having any fun right now.
Yeah, they seem pretty focused on being casual, which is the worst kind of focus.
Yeah, it's just like, it's not very engaging right now.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm at a party and standing next to someone who purposely doesn't want to meet me.
Right. I know that you don't like things to the north of you, but in this case, to the north of all these bird snubbers, it's huge and big and floofy.
Ugh.
I'll be honest, it kind of looks like the back of a bird.
Yeah, what's going on there? That's not. That's gross.
That was a bird's rear, and
That's nasty!
their own float just shit on them. That's horrible. That's why it makes perfect sense with the name now. I get it.
Hold on, the float just shit on it itself?
Did you think you'd see a bird's cloaca today, Duck? I did not.
Honestly, I've been surprised. I've seen multiple labias, so I'm considering this a pretty good parade from a duck winner's perspective. I'm going home with okay, I got some stuff check marked in my head that I got to think about later that's in there. So, but I did not expect to see this.
Just another reason why the parade is looked forward to year after year.
Yeah, it's just kind of pornography for the whole family.
Right.
No matter what kink you're into, there's someone who's scratching that itch.
And there's so little family pornography these days.
That's one of the things that really bothers me is that, when I was growing up with my mom and dad, we used to sit around and watch porn as a family. And now you can't do that anymore.
Now it's all broken homes, like step bro, step sis.
Yeah, it's just and they're trying to connect, and that's good for them, but it's I want to see a real mama and a real son,
What happened to nuclear family porn?
Yeah, I just... you bring up a good point, because there's all this, adopted kid stuff, and it's oh my God, what's happening to the American family when you can't even have sex with your own children? Just, they just do some things in Europe better than us. Well, them French people, they got it.
All right, well...
They're au pairs and all that.
Coming up next, we've got the float from Royston Bong Donor and his 8th Street Dust Kings. He said he was going to do it on the show, and he has done it. Their float is called 6 Feet Under, and...
it's got a little quote there on it.
Yeah, it's typical 8th Street Dust King celebration with all the meats and sausages. I think they're actually grilling down there, Duck. It smells fantastic.
Yeah, there's been a lot of food-themed floats.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
But who's not getting any of those tasty meats? Why, it would be the T-Ball Walkers. Look at that horrifying rendition of them that they placed in their own special hell down there on the bottom.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's grisly.
That is... Yeah, no, that is definitely not a family appropriate. That looks like a gator farm on feeding day right now. I mean, that's pretty violent.
It's graphic, too.
Yeah, it is.
It's, do you want to describe it for the folks at home, Doc?
Well, yeah, you have all the T-ball walkers, and they're all cut in half.
Yeah.
And then you have just with spears and stakes going through them at multiple angles, like skewered, a rotisserie chicken at Costco. And so they're almost like kebabs, and it's rotating with flames underneath it. And then some of them are naked, and they cut off their bitsy boos.
Right.
They're
cockshores.
Yeah. And they got no cockshore. So they've really man de-handled them and turned them into kebabs.
Right.
And it's all beloved.
Hard to look at. Great float, but hard to look at.
Yeah, it's also the smell's not helping.
Yeah.
because it's oh god,
it smells good.
Yeah, it smells good. And it's do I want to eat people?
Yeah.
I'll take a bite just to see what the whole fuss is about. I actually have always wanted to eat a person.
Yeah.
Not like a whole person, but Horace, in the buffet of life, I don't want to walk by something and be oh, I never had a person. If you offer me finger food, I'm going to try it just to say I can, know what we taste like.
Yeah. That's good to know.
If you're going to be a better cook, you got to know what things taste like.
Yeah.
And I don't say I want to eat people, but I do want to nibble.
Mm-hmm. All right, Duck, and here comes the float by the Center for Symbiotic Directional Kinesis. And Well, I have to say, I find this spectacular.
Absolutely.
It's an inverted glass pyramid. The name of the float is Under the Louvre.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I assume that refers to the French Museum.
I will look on the float. You got that best-selling author guy, that Dan Brown.
That is Dan Brown. Yeah. Well, I guess that would make sense based off. It's heavily implied in Dan Brown's book that Mary Magdalene is buried underneath that pyramid. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I remember reading that when I read one line of his book, and that was the line that I read.
Oh, so you turned right to the end.
Yeah, pretty much. I figure I like to just kind of see, like, what's all this one about? And then I read that line, and then if it doesn't grab me, I put it back.
Yeah.
And even if it does grab me, I'll take it home and pretend I read it, but usually I don't.
It's a page turner. You just turn most of the pages at once.
Any book can be a page turner if you don't read it.
It's true. I assume this is an homage to the paperback most frequently left in the seatbacks of airplanes, the Da Vinci Code. Do you hear that, Doc?
What is that?
Huh?
Like a buzzer?
Oh, it's a whole fleet of Zipperoo scooters. I haven't seen them with the jet ski attachment before.
Man, look at those things go!
They are fast, folks. They are fast.
I want one of those. Those look so fun.
It's like they say, when you need to jam on the gas and make it rip, get on the roo so fast it zips.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. What's on the handlebars of those skipperoos, Doc?
Oh, it's just 2 tennis balls.
Oh my God! It's the T-ball walkers.
Oh no, it isn't!
It's the T-ball walkers,
Doc. Oh my
God! Oh my! They're boarding
the
float. They're boarding the float for the Center for Symbiotic Directional Kinesis. They're throwing the kinesis off their own float.
Oh God! This is pure piracy on the low seas.
God! They've grabbed one of the kinesists.
No! That's Author Dan Brown.
Oh my God! They've taken Dan Brown hostage.
Oh God! Oh, Horace.
Oh jeez! Scrit is holding a letter opener to Dan Brown's neck. He's yelling at the captain to stop the float. And the walkers are bringing something onto this float.
What is that? They're like mounting it on the float.
I don't know. It's they're turning it on. One of the walkers has a torch now, folks. This is very unusual.
Oh my God! This is a big old flaming torch.
And you know what that is, Duck? That's a spin shot player tennis ball machine. Those can launch tennis balls at like up to 68 miles an hour.
Oh my God! They're pointing it at the Dust King's float.
Oh my God! But what is the torch for? What is the? Oh, they're firing!
Hey!
Oh my God! The tennis balls are on fire, Doc.
Oh God! They're setting them on fire.
This is boy! The Dust King's grim spectacle of hell has now come to life thanks to the T-ball walker.
Yeah, I'm glad Tiffany's getting on out of there.
Yeah, she is not set to be a wartime correspondent.
No, she doesn't get paid enough for that.
Yeah, this is escalating very quickly, folks. A lot of people are moving out of the way of this. Royston Bongjoner now yelling at the other Dust Kings from the back of their float, and the Dust Kings have slammed on their engine, throwing their float into reverse.
Oh shit! Oh God!
The
walker floated. It just smashed into the back of the A Street Dust King float.
The glass pyramid is coming loose.
Oh God! The humanity!
It's rolling. Oh my God! Dan Brown, look out!
I don't know if he's gonna drown or what, because he's just gushing blood.
Man, it really doesn't matter what I thought of the books. I hate to see an author crushed to death by a large glass pyramid.
Hey, he ain't coming back from that.
No, you could really see it all happen through the glass, too.
The weight didn't kill him, the water will. I saw everything.
Folks, you so rarely get to see both sides of a crushing happen. We just saw it right here.
It was horrible.
Oh, boy. But the Dust Kings are they're leaping onto the T-ball walker's float now. Scrit and Royston are literally screaming in each other's faces. There is no sign of the sheriff or the deputies. I think they've been stretched probably too thin for ages now. If somebody doesn't step in, Duck, we're going to see more carnage.
If you're just tuning in now, we can confirm the death of author Dan Brown.
Oh my God! Look at the Dust King's float. I haven't seen a blaze like that since Crumbler Farms went up.
God, man, it's just like every year something like this happens.
Oh my gosh! I'm glad to see finally that the parade officials seem to have stepped in. And they're pulling these two old maniacs off of each other. I've said it, maniacs. I know they call the show, but God, this is, man. I said it before, Duck, and I will say it again. These two are absolutely going to get someone killed, and in this case, best-selling author Dan Brown.
You know, Horace, they have taken the phrase "whatever floats your boat" too far, okay? Because we do not want to be floating these kinds of boats in our water parade.
Devastating.
I mean, Dan Brown has died.
It's... you hate to see it. You would hate to see any author up there crushed to death by a giant glass pyramid.
Yeah, I mean... Now we won't ever find out what is the Da Vinci Code.
Right. Well, I have to say, maybe a smart pre-move by Mayor Mikey Dusolet to flood the streets is the quick spreading fire on the Dust King's float there is in no real danger of spreading. Thankfully, it's contained, but what a blaze.
Yeah, and also that water is definitely contaminated. I mean, that all of Dan Brown's blood is in that water.
That's true.
That is...
He would probably say consecrated with his own
I'd
blood.
say just, if we could divert it to the gator farm, I could have my gators go through it, but it just seems a little wrong. That's special blood.
Yes, that was horrible to watch. Yeah.
We were having such a nice, family-friendly parade float extravaganza.
Well, there we go. Squid has thrown up his middle finger. He's gotten on his skipperoo, they're zipping up further up the parade route. Most of the T-ball walkers seem okay.
Also, someone's got to light these old people on fire.
It's out of control. It's starting to become devastating to the town.
Yeah.
I'm worried that this violence, it's already spread out of William Bryden Avenue right down here to Main Street.
Father Death cannot come soon enough for these guys. I mean, first of all, they take all the damn tennis balls in town and stick it to their walkers, which has really affected a lot of people's tennis games because, the tennis balls
you gotta have the balls.
They don't grow on trees.
Yeah.
And they're always buying them and sticking them to walkers. Why don't they make walkers with the tennis ball? Like a tennis ball thing on. If your walker needs a tennis ball, you got a bad walker.
Right.
I just say go to the walker manufacturer and be like, you need to make this thing with a tennis ball thing
at the bottom. Get one that's pre-balled.
Rather than jerry-rig a tennis ball, stick it on there, taking away from the high school tennis team.
It's true. It's true.
I saw them. They were trying to play with old dodgeballs.
What a fun way to play tennis.
It looked so fun, Horace. It really did look like they invented a new game, and those kids were laughing. But who's not laughing is Dan Brown.
Or Dan Brown's family.
Because he is down dead.
Yeah. I wish I had his age to announce...
My name is Clint Muffin. I am the chair of the Fakahatchee Committee for Sudden and Unexpected Parade Cancellations. And it is my great pleasure as head of that committee to do my duty and announce to all of you that as of this moment, the rest of the parade has been canceled. We're sorry for any inconvenience this may cause, and rest assured, we're all very disappointed. Except for us in the Committee for Sudden and Unexpected Parade Cancellations. This is really our time to shine.
Wow.
Go home. Parade's closed.
I guess.
Beat it, losers.
I think he's really...
This is Frederick Roebuck, head of the Fakahatchee Committee for Sudden Exclamations of Surprise. What? The parade has been canceled? Oh my God!
Wow, Duck, that looks like that's it for the parade this year.
Well, I mean, I gotta say, it is one to remember. And in a way, it wouldn't be a Fakahatchee parade without some kind of murder.
Right. It's, have they all ended in murder? I'm trying to think. There's been enough that it feels like it could be true.
It's been a while since we've had a notable murder, and I would say best-selling author Dan Brown is a notable murder. That is another notch in the belt of the history that happens in our little town.
It's true. It feels like it might put us on the map in some way.
Yeah, not for a good reason.
No, of course not.
But if you're looking to get for a good reason to be on the map, then you could go try and be a Charleston,
right.
But you ain't gonna be a Charleston here in Fakahatchee.
No, that's absolutely true. Well, I guess for KFAK Radio, for Tiffany Bunzel, and for Mr. Duck Winters, that is going to do it for the Fakahatchee Parade this year.
And I'm feeling kind of generous. I know a lot of blood just splattered. If you come down to the Gator Farm, you show me your shirt covered in blood, you get in free. This weekend only. And that's just the Duck Winters guarantee of giving a little bit back to the community that has obviously taken so much from us today.
Now, is this anyone's blood or specifically Dan Brown's blood?
Well, I was going to to say Dan Brown's, but Horace, you just gave me a great idea. Let's keep it at anyone's blood, okay? Just don't stand too close to the Gators, otherwise we're going to have another couple of Gator murders on our hands.
Well, and you got the Meat Mayor going on down there, and I'll be down there broadcasting live from the parking lot, playing
I got the Meat
some
Mayor.
of yesterday's hits.
Yep, I got some pork strips right under his grundle, kind of his ungie area that I think is going to be real fastidious in nature, It was real detailed. You got some old pork chops for his gluteus maximuses.
Oh.
There's a lot of stuff going on in there, and we spent a lot of time meeting out his genitalia, and I think people are really going to enjoy it.
Well, that is not to be missed, and I hope to see all of you residents of Fakahatchee down there at Duck Witter's Gator Ganza. Which location is that at, Duck? Is that the first one or the second one by the elementary school?
It is a simultaneous celebration, the one by the elementary school, our other location. Because, when you have a Gator Ganza, you're going to need 2 Gator farms to pull it off, okay? I can't have a Gator Ganza, 1 Gator farm. That's how big it's going on. But wear blood-soaked clothing. You get in free. I don't care whose blood it is. And I'll tell you what, if you're not bleeding, I can make you bleed, okay? We're going to have a good time. It is going to be a Gator Ganza to remember.
Well, happy Mayor's Day, everyone, and we'll see you out there.
Fakahatchee Radio. Still American for now.